No había pensado en ti en años. ¿Cuándo? Un poema, dentro de tu libro favorito de Dylan Thomas. Jamás había visto tu letra de puño.
Hello and welcome to Factual Animation Film Festival 2021. A reminder that we have tickets available on the website factualanimation.com, and the screening in London will take place on the 16th of October, and we will be hosting the films online for 1 week after that date. So today I'm very lucky to have Adriana Monteforte with me, and she has her film In Absentia in the festival. So welcome. Hello.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll get straight to it. So your film is very much about the sort of complex relationship you have with your own grandfather, now deceased. You describe him as a narcissist and an absentee father and husband, someone who married several times but was never very good at it. So lots of emotions sort of being processed in this project. But do you feel like you got to know him a little bit better through making the film?
Definitely. To me, my grandfather was sort of this sort of legendary icon almost. I knew the side of him that because he was a pretty famous writer. So I knew that side of him. I have his books in my house and I could Google his name and he was there, but that didn't mean much to me, really. It was as if anyone would Google a name. I had no sort of connection with him whatsoever. And I think through the process of making this film and listening to other stories more about his private life, really, how he was viewed as a father, as a partner, as a friend, it definitely helped me build a more complete picture, I guess, of him. And in that also, I guess, have a more forgiving image of him, because I only thought of him as the absentee father, as the absentee grandfather and the writer. And I had to marry all these different sides of him. And in creating a fuller picture, it did help me sort of get to know him better and, have a more forgiving image of him. Sure, he was a narcissist, but he had other good qualities.
Yeah, so I guess I'm interested in what your family had to say about the film, and I guess I'm particularly interested in if you saw a big difference between like his actual children, your parents and that generation versus you and your siblings, people in your generation. Was there a contrast? People who are closer to him, were they more? Did they have a stronger reaction?
I think they did. Yeah. At first I was a bit reluctant to show them, actually, because it doesn't paint him in a bad light, but it doesn't paint him in a good light either. It's quite. I wanted to keep it very ambiguous and very ambivalent because that's how I feel about my own grandfather. So I was a bit reluctant to show my dad at first, but he quite liked it and he had quite a surprisingly sort of emotional reaction to it. That being said, like all of his grandchildren, like all my cousins and my own brother, they sort of share this feeling that I have of this distance from him. And so they were, surprisingly unaffected. They were more, I guess, interested in my own work and watching something that I made, not so much, watching something about their own grandfather, or a lot of them don't even call him grandfather even, so it was a weird separation between my cousins and my siblings, who were more, interested in looking at my work and looking at the animation aspect of it, I guess. And my father and my mother and my aunts and uncles, who definitely had a much more emotional, much more clear connection with the story. And they all quite liked it. I was very nervous about it, but they were very happy with it. My mom told me that it sounded like my grandfather, like I had written it in a way that it sounded like he had written it himself, which I was quite happy about. So it was interesting.
So this is very much a film about memory, you know, and I read your synopsis and I saw that you sort of even acknowledge yourself that some aspects of the story you're not really even sure if they're true. So do you think that sort of unreliability undermines the film's credentials as a documentary, as nonfiction?
I don't think so. And I thought about that a lot during the process of making it, you know, the line between, you know, truth and lies and fiction and fact and memories and facts as well. And the fact is that you can never be sure. You know, we're all very unreliable narrators, and we all see a story from a same story from very different points of views. And that's what I found, because I guess that the story is based on a series of interviews I did, and I interviewed my parents and all my aunts and uncles, and they would tell me very different versions of the same story. And some of them wouldn't remember a certain bit that another would, and some of them wouldn't remember a thing. They just had a vague feeling of what had happened, and I would fill in those spaces with my own imagination, because in the end, you know, I knew nothing of this man. So in a way, you know, patching up these gaps of memory seems to be like a very documentary-like thing to do, you know, but trying to merge all these stories and trying to make sense of them, and acknowledging that memory is very, you know, unreliable, and you're never going to get a full picture. And in a way, that's what the film is about. You know, I'm never going to get a full picture of this man because I never knew him. So I can only rely on other people's stories about him. And in a way, I think that that's what's interesting about a documentary of this kind. You know, you get to see a lot of sides of the same person and make your own, I guess, conclusion or your own picture about this man in the same way everybody else has.
Well, thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about the film today. How can we find you online if people want to know more about your practice?
I'm only on Instagram. You can find me by my name. It's Adriana Monteforte, or my Instagram handle is 4_AML 2_. And that's where I post most of my animation and illustration work.
Okay, brilliant. All right, thanks, Adriana. That's it for today. And yes, so if you're interested in the festival, you can come and watch it live at Queen Mary University in East London on the 16th of October. All the films will be available online with tickets through factualanimation.com. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.